What is up, my friends? We are here on another episode of Level After Next podcast, where every week we're going to be your accountability. We're going to give you the inspiration. We're going to hopefully make you laugh a little bit. And at the end, you're going to have every desire to go forth and slay. So let's do this. Here we are with Jessica Shirra. Is that how we pronounce your name?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, awesome. She is a fractional CMO, and I'm not going to lie, I had to Google that. And then I was like, oh yeah, that would be a great thing to have. So rather than the standard chief marketing officer position, she's able to kind of tailor what she can offer to different people depending on the size of their business and all of that. But like, before we get into any of that, I'm way more interested in you and who you are and how you got here. So I'd love for you to take us back a little bit. What's your background? How did you get to this place? How has it changed life? And who do you love to help? All of that, all the stuff, whatever you want to share. You know, we can go in any direction. This is my podcast.
Absolutely. I love it. So I've been in marketing for about 15 years. I started out in the tech startup space, which was a really cool place for, me to have my very first job and be able to kind of dip my feet into like all areas of marketing and also jump into sales and work with investors. And it was just a really, really cool first role. I shifted from then over to the hospitality industry, still in a marketing capacity. I worked in agency side for a period of time. So that was really neat just to be able to be working with brands a little bit more of a fast-paced, project-based life. And then I was at Lululemon for a really long time, leading all of their global marketing campaigns. And then I shifted over to like the nonprofit world where I was working with a lot of female entrepreneurs. The company I was at was educating and supporting female entrepreneurs across Canada. And so that was really, really cool. I was there at the start of COVID. And as you can imagine, there was so much change to all of the entrepreneurs that we served. And also a lot of change to the company like they now needed to shift all of their programming, which was in person, online. Which was a challenge in itself, but also really cool because it allowed them to have like a much broader impact across the country and just reach people that previously didn't have access to the resources and programming that they put on. So that was awesome. But then I had my daughter about a couple years into working there, and everything kind of shifted for me after having her. So I really just knew that I couldn't go back to something full time, Monday to Friday. I really wanted more balance in my life to be able to like create my days how I wanted them to be able to just dip out if I needed to do something for the family, or really feel like I had a little bit more control over my time. And then I have probably always had that entrepreneurial itch. I remember like my very first job, which I had an amazing boss. I worked with one of my best friends. I still always had that feeling kind of like deep down that I was going to start my own company one day and didn't really know what it would be, but it just felt like the right time. So I remember being pregnant with my second daughter, and it was probably 2 weeks before my C-section that I was like, I'm going to start my company right now. Like, I don't know if it was pregnancy hormones or really what came over me, but it felt like the right time to start it. So I incorporated, and I kind of used that like maternity leave time to sort of do all of the foundational like setting up of my website and my brand and figuring out, what was I actually going to do? Like what kind of marketing skills was I going to take forward into this company? So that was 3.5 years ago now. And now I work with a handful of clients at a time. I have an agency actually called Navi. And so we're really boutique. There's a few of us fractional CMOs, and we each have our own clients. And we work with clients and really just like come in, create marketing strategy for them, lead their teams, and have a couple different size of packages that we offer to clients just based on their needs and kind of the size of their company. And then we really specialize, I would say, in like the creator space. So a lot of our clients have kind of digital or education based products. So like courses, masterminds, programs, digital products. And then we have like a small subset of e-commerce clients as well.
I love it. I just love that you were, I mean, I especially love someone who's going to start a business 2 weeks before they have a new baby because that just sounds very relatable to me.
Yeah, I don't felt like the right time, and it was energetically like felt really good. So
I love it. How did your husband feel about that?
he was excited. I actually was like, how is he going to react to this? But he has been like my biggest supporter through all of the entrepreneurial highs and lows and dips and all of that. And he's just been like the biggest cheerleader. So I
I
feel,
love that.
yeah.
My husband is we are like complete opposites in every single way. We met when I was 19. Like it makes sense. That's what attracts, right? But
Yeah.
it's just so funny because he's so cautious and he works for the state and he has like, to him, he wants like this very makes sense, reliable thing. And then there's me, like the flightiest ADHD human on the face of the earth, who's like, I think I'm going to get a PhD tomorrow. Like, I don't know. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I made a huge business move, with an 8-month old or I guess he wasn't, no, that was the first big business move was when he was 8 months old. And that was crazy too. But then I'm like, hey, I'm going to leave this 6-figure business and go do something else where I'm homeschooling because the whole world is in lockdown. And he was like, please don't.
Yeah, no, I totally can relate to that. My husband's the same, so I think he's like, "Go you!" But like, I'm gonna be over here with my security and like the safety of this job that I have, and I actually like appreciate that. Like, we balance each other out nicely.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's wonderful. So you not only work with companies, but are you now helping people become
Yeah,
fractional CMOs?
yes, I actually have Fractional CMO School, which I launched kind of a beta version of it in the fall, and built it out kind of as my first cohort of students were going through it. So it's now completely done and built out and ready. I've just kind of taken a pause on marketing it while I get my new site up and everything like that. So I'm super excited. And it kind of really was like born out of just something really natural. Like I just kept having so many people reach out to me through DMs, through email, asking me, how did you start this business? How do you work with clients? Like, I kind of want to do something like that. Even outside of marketing, I've had people in like the HR space or um, product or whatnot reach out to me. And I always, like, anytime I could, I would take a virtual coffee with someone and just like give them everything I could, answer any questions. I had so many people do that for me through my career. And so anytime I can, I'm always that person who's like reaching down the ladder to pull people up and like doing what I can to pay that forward, because I would not be where I am without other people doing that for me. So I was taking all these coffees and it was getting, my business was also getting busier. And I was like, I don't think this is sustainable. Like, and I started to find that I was like repeating the same stuff over and over. And then also getting a view into this lens of working with these creators with these like digital products and seeing that, okay, actually, maybe there's something here for me too. And so, yeah, created that. And it's been, the initial feedback has just been amazing. And it's just felt like, I honestly feel like nothing has like come so easily in terms of like creating content, and it feels very like very natural and fun and doesn't feel like
Authentic.
I
100%.
love it. Yeah, so I'm super excited to like kind of relaunch it and reach more people, help more people with it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I love that area because it's not going anywhere. Not to mention that people want to learn these things, I always refer to kind of what happened with the pandemic as this punctuated equilibrium, right? We were headed in the direction of an online life and sales process and all of this, but it really just was like, okay, figure it out now. And that was hard for a lot of companies and a lot of people. And but now here we are. It's happened and there's really no going back. So, what I always notice a lot is I, and what I talk often about and help people understand and train on is just the like ever changing world of online sales, and not just that, but also you've got your, TikTok and your, metas and all of these things. And what's going to work one day is not going to work the next. So, I mean, can you, one, just give us any insight that you have into that? And two, like, I'd just love to know kind of how you manage that with your clients. How are you able to keep up with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I get asked that often. I would say it's a few things. One would be, I think it's like the lens in which I view marketing through. So that to me is, I look at marketing as like a bit of a science. It's not like 2 + 2 = 4. There's not ever a guaranteed result, but we do what we can with what we know. So we look at all of the information we have available to us and make our best educated guess based on the data, based on gut instinct and like past experiences, what we're seeing as trends in the market, and then sort of build that as a hypothesis. Like, okay, these should be the priorities, or this is how we want to handle this launch because of these reasons. And really making sure, like from a decision making perspective, we're really blending like data driven with gut instinct and experience, and not like leaning too far in one way or another. And then I'm also like very proactively communicating with my clients around that, in that, like, okay, this isn't guaranteed. We never guarantee results, but this is what we're going to do and why we're going to do it and why we think this works. And I think with things changing so quickly, it's just all about like making sure we're tracking the right data to make decisions, and being really nimble and being able to sort of react to like what the market or what the data is telling us, and not like super set in like, this is the plan and this is how we said we were going to do it. So having like a strategy, but flexibility within that to sort of respond to how things are performing.
Yeah. I mean, and I see people struggle with it all the time who are just kind of trying to figure it out on their own. And we know that there's a large piece of the online industry that are really just people on their own, trying to grow, whether it's a brand or a small business, or, they're doing sales through a company. It's like so much work. It's kind of one of the travesties for me when it comes to, um, online businesses. I would say I'm not going to lie, when it comes to like network marketing, I feel like it's kind of this place where so many people they're brought in, and then it's like, oh, by the way, this is a really complicated equation that you've just entered into, and you don't necessarily have anybody leading you through it.
Yeah.
I, I am interested in your thoughts on whether, like, when it comes to marketing, essentially, would you say you've got to be willing to spend money to grow?
Yes and no. You either need to be willing to spend money, or you need to have lots of time to be able to like roll up your sleeves and DIY some stuff. So I think the challenging thing I see with like smaller companies is that they don't have any time to do their own marketing, but they also don't have any budget to outsource. So they're in this like rock and hard place where it's like, I can come in and say, okay, I think you need to do XYZ. But if you don't have any resources, you don't have time, you don't have budget, like you're just not going to see any results. So it needs to be one or the other. But I think the misconception is like, you don't need a ton of money. Like you don't need to be doing ads. You don't need to be, spending a mass amount on everything. I think depending where your business is at, there's like really scrappy creative ways to do things. And then there's also, I think it's really beneficial to have someone that knows marketing in your corner that can advise you on like, okay, I would spend a little more on this. And then here's a really easy workaround to get this, and get sort of like a Band-Aid solution till you get into a place where you have a little bit more budget to play with. And then I think like community is like very, very underrated as well. So I think like whether you're in a mastermind program or you have, entrepreneurs in your circle that you like information share with, I think that is also important, because all of the information is out there. Like none of this is a secret. And we all become stronger when we share. I have like lots of different marketing connections, marketing leaders at like some of the bigger online creator brands, or like sitting in sort of CMO seats at like bigger direct to consumer brands. And we just talk. We're like, hey, like we're seeing this on, paid right now. Is this like a global like thing that Meta is experiencing, or is this like just a me problem and it's our offer or whatnot? So I think like just leaning on community to understand and like leverage each other's learnings so that we all can like grow faster and see results faster, is also really important.
Absolutely. So do you have a community?
I do. Yeah. I'm in 3 different mastermind groups.
But have you created a community? Because it
Oh,
seems like something you would be great at.
I know. This is like my entrepreneur brain that literally it's been kind of a back here idea of like how cool would it be to have like a marketers community that does exactly what I was just talking about and that I naturally do with people. But I haven't yet because I'm very like my goal this year is like simplification and focus, which is difficult for somebody creative and someone entrepreneurial. And I'm really quite focused on like scaling the agency side and like bringing on a few more like really awesome CMOs onto my team, and then really focused on fractional CMO school. But the cool thing about fractional CMO school is it does kind of tick some of those boxes. If you go through fractional CMO school and you want to stay on as an alumni, there's a small monthly membership fee that you can stay on and then like keep that community part of things. And something that I do within fractional CMO school is we have monthly guest expert speakers. And so I have people in my network from the industry come in and talk about anything and everything. So like the paid ads example, I had Boss Babe's ex COO come in and talk about like how to like come into a new company in a leadership role and like do that in a really powerful way. We had somebody come in the other day from like an accountant lens and talk about like how does marketing really powerfully partner with like the finance team and sort of the C-suite to build out sales projections for campaigns and things like that. So I'm always pulling in like my network and the knowledge I'm learning into that small community. And like, if you choose to stay on, you've access to that forever. And then of course there's like the online forum, which is on Circle. And everyone is like very, very supportive and helpful there with, answering each other's questions or giving feedback on things and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of that going on there too.
I love that. So the fractional CMO school is a it's basically the blueprint for creating your own business as a fractional CMO.
Yeah.
Correct. It's not necessarily going into work with you.
No, I will probably pick and choose a few people from there if that's how like one of the girls who's like a CMO on my team is from there, and she's just such a rock star. But it's definitely not like a direct pipeline to that. But it's my blueprint. Like it's exactly what I've done from like A to Z to grow my business, to generate great leads, to like my sales process, how I build out strategy with clients, like examples of like coaching calls with clients. Like it's literally everything. Like if I've done it, if I have it, it's yours to see. Like there's like literally no gatekeeping.
I love it. I love it. And then so if somebody's interested in this, if they're like, this is the kind of thing that I would be great at. I mean, what would you say is I'm like, what background would you suggest someone have, or do they need to have at all for this to become something that, they can incorporate or start a business in?
Yeah, great questions. I would say, so the students that we've had kind of come through fractional CMO school range from having like 4 or 5 years of experience all the way up to like 20, maybe more. But I do find like it is good to have a little bit of marketing experience, of course, going in, because to step into this role, like you're a leader, you're like arm in arm with the CEO and sitting with the C-suite and making some decisions that are really impactful on the growth of the company. So it's definitely not for beginners. Like I said, I think 5 to 7 years experience, and depending what that experience is, like some people excel really quickly into leadership positions and just have that mindset and can step into that really easily. So it's less about the number of years, but I think the people that we have in our program kind of come from a few different places. So we have some people that were like channel specialists or like functional experts in like social or paid or something like that. And they really want to expand into like marketing strategy as a whole and step into like, okay, now I'm leading all of the marketing. And then we have people who were marketing managers or working in corporate managing like big campaigns or something like that. And they want to be able to, come into something a little bit more flexible, like me. And then that kind of third group we have are people who actually are working and running a business as a fractional CMO, but they feel a little bit scattered. They're like, I don't really have a process. I'm not really like generating leads consistently. I think that I can kind of like level up how I'm doing this, or maybe I'm looking to scale, so that we have kind of those three buckets.
I love that. So, on the other side of things, when does it make sense for a company to hire a fractional CMO?
I would say, I think it's different like industry to industry, but the few things that I look for are their size and their like resource capacity. So very similar to what we were talking about before, in that like the strategies we're putting together are not basic. And so, for someone to actually be able to execute and see results, they either need to have time themselves dedicated to be working on marketing, or they need to have budget to have like someone, like even one marketing generalist on their team. Some of our clients have up to like 15, 20 people on their team or more. So I think that as far as when do you feel like you need this leader? I think every client is a little bit different, but the common thread that I hear from clients is that they know what got them here is not going to get them there. So they have big growth goals. They want to take their company to the next level. There's oftentimes they even have a marketing leader in-house, but they have just recognized that they've maybe hit the cap on that person's like strategy or experience, or they kind of want that person even like elevated a little bit. So the role, like when we come in and work with clients, is such a blend of like coaching and elevating and growing the existing team, as well as creating strategy and like measuring and sort of driving the company forward through all of that.
I love that. I am very curious what your referral fee is, because I have like 17 different people who need you right
Oh,
now. I'm just joking.
I literally just, we kind of worked all over the place with referrals the last couple of years, but I just created like a really awesome referral program. So it's
I love it.
fee for lifetime that they are a client with us.
Well, you can all who need this in your business find that link in the notes for sure, because I'll be getting it. No, I think it's great. And it's because I get to work with so many different people, and I get to talk with so many different genius, amazing humans. And I mean, that's basically all I do, is I just like connect dots. That's my favorite thing in the world. I mean, look, it doesn't pay the best, but it certainly pays. Like, it fills my cup so much to connect people. Like, that is just my passion in life, is supporting and connecting. And so much of what I love about this, I think that, again, I had to Google fractional CMO, because I was like, I don't know. Maybe she can just like help me figure out how to get through my day. I need a fractional life officer.
I have a friend for that.
Okay, perfect.
I'm definitely a connector too. And I find that like our best clients, like our favorite, most treasured clients that have come our way, have been from our network. Like, they've been the easiest people to work with, the quickest yes for sales. Like, it's like so seamless. And like from a values perspective, they're super aligned with, the client or the contact of ours that sent them our way. So that's like definitely our favorite way to bring in new people to our world.
I could not agree more. Okay, so just on like a fun note, maybe some free advice, but you have an Instagram.
Yes.
Where else are, like, I know we have your website, everything's going to be in the show notes. So on your Instagram or anywhere else, do you offer tips and advice on marketing?
Yeah, my Instagram's been a little slow if you've been following me on there the last month.
I'm in the same, it's May and we have kids, and it's brutal.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Instagram and LinkedIn, I'm like decently active there. It'll be picking that up a little bit starting like June. So definitely on there. And I will be starting a newsletter probably by the end of the summer as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And so if people are looking to grow right now on their own, I'm always like, I'm like, don't grow. People are really mean. The bigger you get, the meaner people get. I'm like just praying nothing goes viral at this point. I'm maybe the only person out there who is like, please don't let it go viral. And then the most random things go viral, things that like absolutely will not benefit me or my business in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I can't handle it. But for those who are just dying to like get out there, they have their business. I mean, is there something that you can say as far as like, do they need to brand? Is that like incredibly important? Or is it, just being very consistent with, if we're talking about social media specifically, like where does the biggest importance lie at this point, do you feel?
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. If we're talking just strictly social media, what I would say is choose one channel, only one, and be very consistent and have a strategy around, what you're doing. If you can't afford to hire someone to do a strategy, ChatGPT will do a decent job.
I love it.
Like to also like a million prompts out there that are free. You can go on Instagram and find like, download my free ChatGPT prompt. So if you're even like, how would I use ChatGPT to do a strategy? That's a great starting point. And then I would say making sure you understand who your ideal client is or customer and talking to them and like forming those connections and making sure that when they see your content, you're either like solving a problem, they're relating, you're entertaining, like any of that. So I think just showing up really consistently, using metrics to really see like what's resonating with your audience. Those are kind of all like some of the things that we focus on for clients.
So great. So great. Well, I think you are amazing and lovely. I love that you are not just offering this service, but helping others build their own businesses, start their own fractional CMO business, teaching, educating, and sharing. You're just so my people. And I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm like going to connect you with a dear friend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
ASAP. But thank you so much for being on with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I'm excited to chat with you more as well and like stay connected. I feel like there's some good energy here.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000,000%. Is there, so as well, again, everything's going to be in the show notes, but do you want to tell people like the LinkedIn, Instagram, anywhere else, your website?
Yeah, you can find me at marketing.by.jess. That's my Instagram. We also have some accounts for Fractional CMO School and Navi, but they're more just kind of placeholders. So you can find me there. Website, risewithnavi.com. And then my personal LinkedIn as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what else we get to do together. And I just love that you joined me today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, there it is there. Thank you so much for joining us today on Level After Next podcast. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Or if you really don't want to have any FOMO, head over to levelafternext.org where you can catch up with all the things. Peace out.